Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Bamster's News. Today is July 28th, Monday morning, and today we are going to speak about a couple of new Bethesda muck-ups, an Epic Game Store feature that has been added, some Disney Plus news, and maybe a way to spice up your relationship. But with me today I have Tock. G, say hi.
It's Monday morning, it's way too early to say hi.
Contrary G today, okay. Alright, well, in true Bethesda fashion, it seems, they've released the old school Doom games onto consoles, and already there's problems. I mean, these games were out and fully functional decades ago. And now they're re-releasing them for console, and it's not even the first time that they've been re-released either, because there was a re-release of the first couple of Doom games, and then I think that was out on the 360, and now they're re-releasing them for Xbox One, and I guess it turns out that folks who already owned the games in their Xbox account couldn't re-download the games. Now, that's an unintended bug, and they're working to fix that, but just... it seems kind of comical.
It's a little bit funny, isn't it? But no, it's funny that every time Bethesda does something, there's something wrong. Like, can they not even release Doom without messing it up?
Apparently not. Not even on the Switch. Did you hear what was going on about that one?
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, accounts and stuff.
Yeah, this has turned into a huge internet meme, which has just been kind of hilarious. And so apparently the release of the old Doom games on the Switch have required a Bethesda.net account to that you have to log into to play the games. So a single-player offline game that never had any online component to it is requiring a Bethesda.net account. That's something else that they've also come out and said that they intend to patch. Now, the reason for this, or the reason why this was included, was because they were saying that for those who are members of the Slayers Club, this is a way for them to get credit for that inside their account and get some like additional bonuses or whatever. But I guess it was never intended to require. It was just supposed to be an option.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I've seen online where some folks said just put the Switch in airplane mode and you can get past that.
I'm thinking the intent might have been for the whole Slayers Club thing, but they didn't think so far that people wouldn't want to do this. I'm fully on board with this as being a genuine cock-up, that they just thought people would be fine with this requirement, and therefore made it mandatory, because this is not something you accidentally make mandatory. Really. This would be caught in Q&A, this would have been caught in reviews, this would have been caught so many places. This is not an unintended feature. It's the getting caught that was unintended.
Well, and I think it's another one of these things where it's like you're standing too close to something to see what the issue is. It's just internally, I think, just like you were saying, where they intended it for this because they thought people would want to do this. But, I mean, come on, there's got to be a ton of people on the Switch that would want to download and play Doom that aren't members of the Slayers Club or possibly don't have an interest in, creating an account to do that. So they just want to play Doom.
Yeah, because if you go on and say, well, the intent is to either let them log in or let them skip the login and say, no, I don't want to log in, then that skip feature has to be there. That's a feature point in a design document, in an implementation document, and gosh darn it, also in a Q&A document.
Yeah, and also the little check mark too. Don't bug me about this again.
Yeah.
But some of the memes online have been pretty hilarious with, things ranging from, Mario Brothers to Castlevania. I think one of them might have been like a Crash Bandicoot style game or something like that. Final Fantasy and more, all of these things. There was even one for like the old school first Legend of Zelda game where you would walk in and get the sword, and instead of the old man saying, "It's dangerous out there, don't go alone, take this," it was, a Bethesda.net account is required to play this title.
That could have been done better. That one was sad. It's dangerous out there. Don't go alone. Here, take a Bethesda login.
Yeah. So it's just, you gotta love when the internet just takes something like this and runs wild with it.
All your bays are belong to Bethesda.net. Please log in. And I kind of think it's a little bit the same, that somebody didn't think through what happens when you release Doom for Xbox One when there's already a Doom backwards compatible thing for Xbox 360 that also happens to work on Xbox One. Like, basically there's two Dooms, and nobody did a dry run of what happens inside the Xbox store when you do this. So again, this one I believe is a bug, but it's somebody who fucked up Q&A, which nobody at Bethesda or Microsoft have ever done.
I was just going to say, with the amount of stuff that seems to come out of there, do we really truly believe they have a Q&A department?
Toddy the Howard has talked long and wide about Q&A department and how difficult, complex it is. And it is a difficult topic, and it is a complex thing. Video games are some of the most, if not the most, complex software we have. I would trust most video games, code-wise, to be bigger or longer than genuinely most code for things like nuclear reactors. But they're also developed under different principles. So
yeah, true enough.
you can go to the moon with 8 kilobyte of RAM.
But not in a Doom game. Well, moving on from that, the Epic Game Store is looks like it's starting to add new features, or at least it's added one new feature. They're adding cloud saves for quote-unquote select titles.
Two.
At least, yeah, the first two titles to feature that are Moonlighter and This War of Mine, which are currently free to download as part of the store's promotional free games that they give away.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice feature. It's something I always like when Steam games support it. Not all Steam games do. And even when you, like me, have gaming on two different computers that are, Windows and Mac, it gets fun to see where the cloud saves work and where they don't. That's not a problem on the Epic Store because they only support Windows games. Yay!
Well, the other thing I love about the cloud saves is that there are times when, I won't play a game for a while, and then in order to clear up space on my hard drive, I'll remove a bunch of old games that I haven't played in a long time, and then every once in a while in our LAN sessions, we'll go back to those games. And it's nice not to have lost, character levels and game progress and stuff like that, not to have to start all the way again with a first level character.
Yeah. So it's a good thing they're doing it. Good on them. Let's see it get implemented everywhere.
Yeah, they said they do have quite a bit more work before they roll it out. He said more widely, but the more features they continue to add to the store, the better.
The curious part is they've done it in a way where the games didn't need to be changed. So I know when I'm playing, what was the last thing I played? Endless Space 2. I use cloud saves in there. They show up in the game. You can go inside the game. You can turn on and off cloud saves. It's clearly integrated into the game for Steam. But Epic is doing it in a way where you don't need to, or possibly can't even yet integrate into your game. So I'm slightly concerned about this idea. But if it's the easiest way for them to do it, go for it.
I guess the question is, do they have some kind of check or something when you shut the game down that it reaches into your hard drive and copies that save? Is that what's going on? Or?
That is part of what I know Steam does. It will look into a specific folder and see if there's a save game in there. Or basically if there's a file that's updated or changed. I think Sword Coast Legends did something similar, or at least again, Steam did something similar on behalf of Sword Coast Legends.
Okay.
But it's fun because then, let's say they're successful and they get 1 billion players. And save games are anything from hundreds of kilobytes to hundreds of megabytes. I've seen some huge save files. How much space are they setting aside for this?
That's a good point and a good question. The more users they end up getting and the more games those users are playing, the more space they're going to need.
I've had a few games that had no more space free. And on Steam, you can go in and ask how much space is allocated to this game, and it will show you and how much you've used. So I've hit the wall and had to delete all my save games and click through them manually one by one. Delete, delete, delete. But a game like Satisfactory, there's a bug right now. Not even a bug, but if you do something stupid, the save file would just keep growing megabytes by the minute.
Oh, jeez.
Well, it might be like 1 megabyte per minute, but still, it grows quite aggressively. And if you leave that for a while, the game takes tens of minutes to load into suddenly. It's a known issue.
It's not a bug, it's a feature. It's manufacturing a large save file for you.
Yeah, but it's a fun one in Satisfactory because it's basically there's a vehicle you can drive around and tell it to record where you're driving and then follow the steps. So basically you program a vehicle to drive a specific path. Guess what? If you forget to turn off that recording feature, it just keeps recording even after you left the vehicle.
Oops.
No, because that's sort of the intent. You drive up to a stop point, you tell it to record while you go do things, and the automated loading, unloading takes place. You get back in the vehicle and you keep driving. So the idea of getting out is good, but it's messing up save files. Anyways, good on Epic Store. Let's see what the next feature they implement.
Well, and moving from that, we've talked about some of the variety of different streaming services that have been coming online, and I know I've been a little bit excited about the Disney streaming service that should be available in mid-November, and they've now released some pricing for that, or at least in part. If you want to go just for the Disney Plus streaming service, that's going to be $6.99 a month. But the other bit of news that came out that was kind of interesting is that you can also get this as an add-on to Hulu. So if you're a current Hulu subscriber, you'll be able to add on the Disney Plus service, much in the way you can do with Showtime or HBO Go. So I haven't seen anywhere where they've listed the price for that add-on yet. But I almost think that it would be cheaper than just getting Disney Plus by itself. But then again, I think both the Showtime and HBO Go pricing is already more than that, just as an add-on for Hulu.
Well, as we mentioned Friday, the $6.99 or $7, we don't know if that's the base package or if there will be more expensive packages. So just wait. There'll probably be something extra for the MCU. Netflix has here is €7 for Netflix's base package. I mentioned that Friday as well. But it's $14 for the one if you want to watch on multiple screens in HD.
I think we get, with the base package here in the US, I think you get 2 screens.
Yeah, we get 1 screen and not HD. And then on the middle package, you get 2 screens in HD. And on the full package, you get 4 screens.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So I expect the same. But the Hulu thing, interesting, but I think Hulu is available in the UK and that's it. So, meh.
Man, you guys have got far too many limitations when it comes to streaming services.
Nah, we got Pornhub. What else do you want?
Yeah, I suppose they probably make their versions of everything anyway, right?
Yeah, probably. Well, they were successful enough that YouTube launched their YouTube Red. It's basically a ripoff of RedTube, naming-wise. You never noticed that? The for-pay version of YouTube is YouTube Red?
I did see something about that, but I haven't really paid much attention to it.
Oh.
But I guess, speaking of keeping things spicy, if you're looking to spice things up with your significant other, there's an article out that said there was a survey that found playing Mario Kart helps to keep the romance alive. So I guess I would think that probably means that you need to play smart. So if one of you is much better at the game than the other, probably don't trounce your partner consistently over and over again. But beyond that, I guess, couples get to have a fun time.
I got a no, thank you, so...
Oh. that's funny because my wife does not generally enjoy video games for the most part, but that is one of the few games that we have actually been able to play from time to time, so that's kind of cool.
I've been trying to get her into TikTok, Tale for Two. I think that's much more her style. Mine, not yours. I'm not trying to get your wife to play games.
Yeah, we'll have to throw a link in the bottom for that, our playthrough on that, in case anyone's interested in watching that. But yeah, that was definitely a cool game. I like the way they did the multiplayer on that.
Yeah, and as you point out, Mario Kart is you're playing against the other players. So I can see that ticking off at least some wives.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas a game like TikTok, where you're playing together for a common goal, and it's a non-violent game, yeah. I would target that instead. If you're playing games to stay together, as the survey says, find something less adversarial. Adversarial.
Well, it's funny you say that some wives might find that frustrating. I think the controls have come a long way with regards to Nintendo. They made a huge jump with the Wii as far as the motion controller and stuff like that. Whereas prior to the Wii, I was so used to just sitting there and not move. The only thing that would move when I would play something like Mario Kart were my thumbs. That was it. Nothing else moved. Or occasionally, index fingers. But I would sit there like a statue and play that game. And then the Wii comes out, and obviously the Switch as well, with the motion controls, and you're sitting there and you're supposed to turn the control. And yes, you can set it up to play old school where you're just pressing the buttons. But the first several matches and several rounds we played, instead of dominating, I was finding that I was getting my butt kicked because I was not used to the motion controls. And I'm so used to just sitting there and not moving, that it was really throwing me off. It took me a little bit to get used to those controls and to get skill level back up again. So I can see, it's more intuitive with the motion control, so might not always be one-sided.
When the PS3 came out with the which has motion sensing in the controller, do you know that thing people do where they are holding a controller and then they have to turn, and they turn their whole body, even though all you're doing is move a stick. I always wanted games, particularly racing games, flying games, to oversteer when you do that.
Oh.
You're that excited? Yes, we'll crash you into the wall to your right or left.
Yeah, it's funny that they kind of leaned into that, so to speak, because I can remember even before the motion controllers when people would do things like that. So yeah, now that's just part of how you play.
Yeah. There was an awesome little dragon game on the PS3 that did it, where you had to use the whole controller to fly a dragon. So kind of nice. But I should probably say, just for proprietary, it isn't just wives who might have issues. There will be some hobbies out there who probably also don't play video games, whether it's the wife that does. So when we say there'll be wives that has issues, we just mean spouses.
And on that note, we're going to end this news update. So, appreciate you sticking around listening to us ramble. Hopefully you learned a few things or got some useful information this week. And for myself, Draconis, that is it, and I am out.
Ciao.